And Lindsay's going to go through her process again with each of you. Frequently asked questions, how to transition. Terry, who's made numerous phone calls to federal employees, is going to talk about that initial phone call for data collection. Once Lindsay books the meeting for you guys, it's very crucial to have a script on getting that data collection meeting started, and then we're going to open up to questions at the end here. So what we're going to start with, Lindsay, is I'm going to pull up the frequently asked questions, and we'll start going through this, okay?
Okay, that sounds good.
So what we put together, and some of you maybe this is a refresher course, but we put together frequently asked questions the advisors have for Lindsay in the scheduling process. So I'm going to turn over to Lindsay and have her go through those. And if you have questions during the presentation with Lindsay, go ahead and put them up in the chat bubble that's second to the phone and the top of your dashboard there, and then at the end we're going to open it up to questions. So, Lindsay, take it away.
All right, sounds good. Questions that I'm getting regarding appointment setting have been asked more than once, so I think it's good to just go over this, and if you guys do have any questions, feel free to ask again as many times as you need, because I know it can get confusing. So the first one that I get, sometimes is that you're not getting emails on some of the leads you've received, and what does that mean? So even today I had a question about, how are these other leads going? And that's fine. You can ask, and I can give you more details if that's what you like. But typically I don't give any updates on any of the leads that I haven't yet reached. So if you're getting a phone appointment, you get an email from me, and it says, hey, here's your phone appointment. This is the time and date that they'll be expecting your call. But you don't hear about, the other 3 leads that you've received. That just means that I'm still trying to get a hold of them. So I will touch on this a little bit later too, but I continue to call them 5 or 6 times until I do get a hold of them, or we'll go over that more later. But anyways, that just means that I'm still trying. The next question that I get fairly frequently is that you've missed your phone appointment that I scheduled for you, and can I reschedule that for you again? And unfortunately, the answer is no. I do set up that first phone call for you, but as far as responsibility on your part and the lead's part to actually attend that meeting and be on both ends of that line is up to you guys at that point. So I always feel bad when I see that, because I am working hard to get those for you as well. But that is, at that point, if you miss an appointment, I know life is busy and that happens, and that's fine. It's just going to be up to you to call and follow up and say, hey, I'm sorry I missed this appointment. Let's just set this up again. So at that point, it's not too bad, because they know that you were going to call, so they kind of know who you are and what you're going to be talking to them about. But so it's not necessarily a cold call for you. The next one that I get sometimes is, I'm wondering about the leads I haven't had phone appointments scheduled for. Will you let us know what you've heard from them? Okay, yeah, that one we kind of already went over, didn't we? Yeah. I'll let you know at the conclusion of your lead quota. So once your campaign is complete and you still haven't heard from some of them, you've got 9 appointments and the remainder you haven't heard about, then I will let you know, hey, Jim Jones really wasn't that interested right now. He thought he was, but he just doesn't want to, and put that in your folder for, a month or 2 to contact him again. Or this person I just really never got a hold of, and maybe you could try that. So, there are times when I just don't get a hold of somebody, and it's just the name of the game, I guess. But, yeah, at the end of the campaign, I'll let you know as far as what you can put in your folder to contact in the future. Let's see, so the next one here If a lead asks if this service is through the government, I tell them that the financial – oh, okay, so this is a question that I get pretty often from people. They're wondering if this is a service through the VA, through their HR, through the government. And I don't want to freak them out. You know, they're giving you all of their information, and sometimes when they're asking about that, they're pretty wary of that. So I just let them know, you know, Fed Resource is an independent company. What they do is they get financial advisors in contact with federal employees. And that is just an asset for you, I say to the lead, because they're going to run this report for you for free. It's a great thing for you to know and find out, and it's a reputable company. If you need any kind of, you know, peace of mind as far as an accreditation or some kind of email that you'd like more information, we have the literature, just a matter of getting it to you. And so then most times, actually, they just say, okay, yeah, let's do it. Once they hear the free report, they're pretty excited. But there are times where I will just let you know, hey, you know, he was kind of wary. Do you have credentials that you can send his way? Let him know who you are. Or, you know, Lori and Jeff have some literature on as far as who Fed Resource is, what we do, and what we're about. So that's kind of where I steer them. Are there any questions at this point from anyone?
We have little feedback. If you could all go to your listen-only mode, mute your phones. We will open it up to questions at the end of the presentation. If you do have a question, as Lindsay's going through this, please use the chat bar at the top, and we'll address it as we go through here.
Okay, yeah, just let me know, Jeff, because I can't see if there's if the chat box is coming up on mine. So.
Yeah, no, I'll direct the questions.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see where are we at here. So the next question that I get is, what do you tell the lead about the phone appointment you're scheduling for them? So if I'm getting that first conversation ready for you, but as far as information, the information, that isn't something I address unless they ask me. So I'll just call and I'll say, hi, this is Lindsay. I was calling to follow up on the inquiry that you made online for a federal benefits report. Just want to get you in contact with the financial advisor that will run that report for you sometime next week if you have time to speak with him over the phone. And most of the time, I mean, I really emphasize the you requested this, and so most times I don't do that to make them feel stupid, but I also want them to know, like, yeah, I wanted this, so I'm not going to question too much, and most of the time they don't. So they just say, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I did request that. Okay, yeah, when can we do it? So I get them on the phone and or get that phone appointment set up. And then it's just a matter of them, you know, being present at that phone appointment. I tell them your name, but I don't say, you know, you need start gathering your TSP and your leaving earnings and your social security statement. That's kind of what that phone call is set up for. So if they ask me, then I say, well, you know, he's going to go over that with you during that phone appointment, but if they really want to know, I'll tell them what to start gathering. But, yeah, that's kind of how the conversation goes. Let's see. Okay, the next one. It says, after the initial phone appointment is made, whose responsibility is it to schedule further appointments with the lead? So that kind of segues well into the other thing we were going to talk about, Jeff. It's your responsibility to use that phone appointment to follow up with the lead. So what's been happening, some of the advisors have been calling, using that phone appointment, getting the information going as far as getting it sent their way. But then they don't set up the follow-up face-to-face meeting. So that's really important. You've probably been seeing that on the bottom of these emails I've been sending, because it's really important for you. I'm not going to be continuing to make these calls, so you need to say, here's the data I need, and let's make a time in a week and a half from now or 2 weeks just to make sure that report can be run. It takes a week. So just, 2 weeks from now, let's get it on the calendar. Can I come visit you? I'd love to go over this report, with you face-to-face. Let's talk about it, and, most of the time they'll be open to that. So just following up and not being at a standstill after that first phone appointment thinking, okay, now I've got this, and I got their information sitting here, and now I can't get a hold of them again. Well, they are hard to get a hold of sometimes, so it's important just to say, let's get this on calendar. Now that I've got you on the phone, make sure you follow up. Otherwise, it's essentially a lost lead.
Yeah. Terry, do you want to comment on that?
I do. I actually don't let that much time go by, Jeff. If I'm calling them, for example, on a Tuesday afternoon, if the lead time had been set up for me on Tuesday afternoon, everybody that's gone through Fast Start has the initial phone call scripting that we put together for them. And basically, when you're making that initial call, there's three purposes to that call. Number one, we're introducing ourselves as the Fed resource consultant that's going to be helping them with the analysis report that they had requested. Of course, we find out if this is a good time to have the conversation or if we need to set a time to call them back. We let them know on this call the items they're going to need and how they can go about obtaining some of these documents if they don't have them ready available. And then before we let them off the phone, we've scheduled a follow-up meeting or phone call. Now, most of us are doing the intake or data collection on a brief phone call over the phone to save a lot of time. So if we've spoke with them on Tuesday at 2 and I'm asking them, can you put your hands on that? Is that something you have available fairly quickly? Most federal employees can have their LES and a copy of their TSP in moments notice offline. The challenge for them if they don't have estimates of Social Security is to go to ssa.gov, so they'll need to schedule up a little time for themselves to get that for us. But not uncommon that we can get back on the phone and get that data collection process rolling in 3 business days. The process, the quicker you can button this up and keep it on their mind, the better off you're going to be to get to the close. If you let 2 weeks go by, they forgot that they even requested this. So if I'm talking to them on Tuesday, I'm saying, do you think Thursday or Friday of this week's too soon, or would we need to get back on the phone on Monday? And then when we get them back on the phone to do the data collection, we've given them the 3 ways in our scripting, but what we've found is if you allow them to fax or email, you never get all the documentation, or you don't get it correctly. So if you get kind of a tough cookie that says, look, I'll just fax this over to you, you're definitely going to want to set them up to have a phone time to go over anything that might not be, you might have missed it or it's not clear. So you're still going to get a phone call out of them. They just don't know it yet. So we're doing the data collection 3-4 days out.
Yeah, on that point, because I think this is a critical point. So Lindsay books the meeting. Now, Lindsay, when you book the meeting, do you tell them what they should have prepared or what the advisor is going to need off their?
No. Nope. I just set up the meeting, and typically they don't ask, but if they do, I say that's kind of what that first phone call is about. So I told advisors if they want to give them a heads up after that meeting is scheduled, would be a good time for them to send an email saying, hey, I'm going to be calling you. I hear we have a phone appointment. These are the 3 things. That way they have it in their email. They can see it. Otherwise, even if I do say it, by the time the actual appointment happens, they forget. So it is that's kind of what that first phone call is, yeah.
Okay, so, and we do have a standard email that.
When we get off this phone call, Jeff, then the next step is to send the recap email.
Yeah.
So then they get their list of what they're going to need and the scheduled phone call time for the next call.
So when Lindsay's making the call for you, the advisors, once she books that appointment, you need out of your office, you need to send the introduction email with what they need to have for the meeting.
Right.
I think that's crucial.
some advisors are sending it as the leads are coming in. They're saying introducing themselves that way. So that is an option, I think. But for me, the most effective way, I think, is once the appointment is scheduled, because you've got their interest at that point. Hey, I know there's this phone appointment going on. What's this in my email about it? Okay, I'll read it. Instead of, I signed up for this and here's some junk mail, I'm going to delete it. You know what I'm saying? So once they know that it's coming, the most effective way that I think might be best is after the phone appointment is scheduled.
So the initial call is made from the advisor, then we hang up the phone, Jeff, and then we send the email. Most of them have to go online and get their Social Security information.
Right, I'm saying
okay,
after.
So you're saying after.
Yeah, so I'm saying after Lindsay, or if the advisor's making the call, after that, after like a reminder of the appointment. So Lindsay books the calendar. The advisor's office is aware of that meeting being Tuesday at 1 p.m. There should be an email that goes out of the advisor's office saying, "This is Jeff. Looking forward to our conversation next Tuesday. I'm the regional federal benefits consultant in your area." Maybe even a link to their bio if they have that, and then here's what I'm going to need for us to prepare your report. Boom, 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 and that way you can have a much more efficient meeting. And if there's, there could be some dialogue back and forth in the email before that meeting. We want to keep touching them because, as you said, Terry, you got to keep the momentum going. So we get the lead. Lindsay gets on the phone right away, makes the call, books the meeting, and then there has to be communication before that first meeting so they don't fall off.
Right.
And then to turn around, like Terry said, as quickly as you can book that benefit analysis presentation, the better. Because if we can get this within a 7 to 9 business day window, you have a much higher probability of getting a client.
Right.
So,
and then as far as the 2 weeks, does it take an actual week to run the report once the information is gathered? Is that right, Terry?
Well, it depends on the day. If it's coming in at 8:00 on Monday morning, chances are they're going to have the report to them by Tuesday afternoon. We can't make that promise. We say 3.
Oh, okay.
We say 3 business days because I am in the field, and so if I'm out on Tuesday running my own appointments, I'm not sitting here running reports. So we have to have 72 business hour opportunity to turn those around. And that's if they're a clean data collection form and it's legible and all the information's there. If this office has to make a phone call back to the advisor who has to make a phone call to the federal employee, they're not most likely going to get that report in 72 hours because there'll be the lag time of trying to get the correct information.
Okay.
Well, that's also assuming that it's in good order. But I think the reason that we put a 3 to 5 business day return on it, we're assuming that it's in good order too. So.
Right. Okay.
All right. So we'll go through role play your conversation, and then we'll open up the questions. And I know we also have that follow-up email that we want to share. So.
Okay, that sounds good. So, when I get a hold of a lead, I just say, "Hi, this is Lindsay. I was calling to follow up with the inquiry that you made online for a federal benefits report in the last week or so. Usually it's the last couple of days." And they say, "I always call within 24 to 48 hours of receiving the lead, but I'm not sure exactly when it came in to Lori and Jeff, but pretty quickly." And they say, yeah, I did do that. And I say, okay, well, I wanted to see if you have time to speak with a financial advisor that will run your report for you and, just in the next week or 2 over the phone. And they say, yeah, that would be fine. And then I just set up a good time and check your schedules. And a few times I have double booked, and I am sorry for that. I've got all these schedules, and I'm trying to keep track of it all. You make mistakes, so I am sorry to the advisors that I have done that for. But I just set that up, and they say, okay, is there anything else? And that's really it. I mean, I don't go into a whole lot of detail as far as what they'll need, and I just get that done and get it ready for you. So that's essentially how the phone call goes.
Okay. I think this is a good time we can open it up to any questions you have for Lindsay or Terry on this process. You must take your phone off mute to ask a question or we can't hear it. If there's no questions, Lindsay, let's go to the email that you and I discussed earlier.
Okay. Yeah.
Explain that. Explain this and let the advisors know why this is so important.
Right. Well, Terry kind of already touched on it, and maybe I need to tweak this as far as making that follow-up a week later. She said it takes 3 to 5 business days. That was kind of just to be safe. But basically the bottom reminder is just to remind you to keep making touches like we're talking about, not letting that lead slip through the cracks, and especially once you get them on the line. I mean, that's half the battle there. So just introducing yourself, making them feel comfortable with the situation, that even though it isn't through the government, you might get that question too if they haven't already asked it from me. And just, letting them know who you are, how you're going to take care of them, how their information can be confidential and safe. But then following up once you let them know the different ways. And like Terry said, typically it's easier to do the data collection over the phone because it's hard to get people to move in the direction you want them to when documents are in order, because nobody can figure out how to get a hold of them, and when they do, they don't know what they're looking at. And so it might be better for you to get really familiar with that data collection form and know even questions in that first phone call, how to ask them, hey, what program are you in, or whatever this is, and just know the exact questions that you're going to be asking them. These are the answers I need from you. Can you figure them out in the next day or two? Call them again the next day. Just be on them that first couple of days, and then always making sure that, in the week we're going to meet together, okay? So I need this document, I need this information from you in the next couple of days because I want to run this report for you and meet with you next Wednesday. So just giving them a deadline as far as when you're going to be at their door meeting with them. So that's kind of what that reminder is about, and I know it's in bold and kind of annoying to see every time I send an email, but it's just a reminder not to let that lead go. So
Right.
Yeah.
That's very helpful. Okay. From the field, I'd like to hear from the advisors on how the process is going for each of you with Lindsay, and then transitioning to the data collection. Positive and negative, what can we do better as far as working with each of you? We have a very good process, but I'm always looking to improve it. And the only way we can improve it is with feedback from those of you that are using the services. So this is a good time to get some feedback. For those of you that have just recently joined us and have not looked at the first 2 tutorials, that's imperative that you do that. The session 1 is on data collection and fact finding, and Terry does a very thorough job of going through that data collection meeting, which is pivotal in transitioning from the lead to Lindsay setting the meeting to the analysis. The second tutorial session is on the benefit analysis presentation. Again, those first 2, if you haven't gone over those, please do so. And if you need a link sent back out to you for those sessions, let us know. At this time, are there any closing comments, Terry?
No, I think they should role play this phone call before they start to make the calls. And for our Fast Start trainees that have gone through the program, we've actually taken the time to do that. so that they can get comfortable with what they're going to say and, let me throw some crazy questions at them so that they can be quick on their feet so this feels natural. So it just feels like you've been doing this a long time. And I think that you'll see that the Fast Start consultants are handling this phone call very efficiently.
Okay. All right. Well, if there's no additional questions, then thank you, Lindsay.
Yes, thank you. Thanks so much. And, yeah, advisors, just let me know if you have any questions, and be happy to try to answer them. So.
And Terry, thank you as usual. For the advisors, look for the schedule. We're going to send out the rebroadcast for the first 8 sessions. And thank you for attending today. And this concludes our presentation. So have a great lot.